Tamara here, nice of you to join me, and a very warm welcome to my channel. It's lovely to have you here with me today. Now, I've got a very exciting video to show you today, and that is in the form of my very first project for Graphic 45 as one of their brand ambassadors. Now, I'm going to be making a gatefolded album, and this is the tutorial for that. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, comment, like and share. Head over to Graphic 45 where you'll be able to see lots and lots of inspiration from the other brand ambassadors on the team for this year. But for now, let's get eyes down and we can get on cutting our elements out. So I've got here 1.5 milligrams 1.5 mil thick grey board, so you should be able to cut this quite easily with your trimmer. So we're going to cut the grey board pieces first, and then we can go on and cut the pages. So for the grey board, you'll need the back, and this is going to be cut at 7 1/4 by 5 1/4. So I'll show you how easy it is to cut. So I'm going to go through it a few times, like so. You will end up with it slightly still attached, but if you just pull it apart, you will break it. Now, if these furry bits here annoy you, just get yourself a nail file or a sanding block, and you can just sand them down. But as I'm using my foundation tape, you're not going to see that anyway. But just with a quick sand, it's gone. So the next measurement would be the 5 1/4. So off we come, like so. And then just break that apart. Quick sand. So that is then your back. So now we need the spines. Now we need 2 of the spines because we are going to be doing a gatefolded album. And this is going to be cut at 5 1/4 by 1 1/2. So I can use this little part here that's come off. So 1 1/2. I'm just going to turn that round and do the 5 1/4 as well. So just break that apart. And there, and then I think this is probably a bit too small now. Maybe. No, I can use that bit as well. So that's 2 for 1. So that's the bit that came off of that there. I'm just going to give it just that. Get rid of those little furry bits. There we are. And then you've just then got the fronts to do. Now the fronts are 3 5/8 by 5 1/4. Come on. There we go. So let's have a look. So 3 5/8, which is there, by 5 1/4. Now I may need to get just one more sheet, which I've got one hanging in the wings. There we go. Just to do that last little measurement. So I'll go 3 5/8 by 5 1/4. So that then is my album pieces cut. Next, we're going to cut out the pages. Now you'll need 4 of these, but what I'm going to do is cut 2 pieces of card at the same time. So the measurement you'll need for that is 9.5 by 7 3/4. Now I'm just going to write on these the measurement. So next we can cut the hinges out. So we need our hinge mount. So again we need 2 of these, and this is going to be 5 inches by 4 3/4. And if you have any offcuts, I've got some offcuts here that have come from somewhere else, so I'm going to use this. So 5 by 4 3/4, like so. So that's 1, and I'll just grab another sheet of card and we'll go 5 by 4 3/4 again. That's your 2 hinges, hinge mounts. And hinge mount. Okay, coming now to the hinges, and we need to cut 4, and they're 2 different sizes. So the first size, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all score at 3/8, like so, and then I'm going to cut at 7/8. Okay, so that's 1, but we need to cut it down to 4 3/4. So that's your 1 size. Your next one, the same one, we're going to do exactly the same, score at 3/8 and then cut at 7/8. Come down to 4 3/4, and then so that's your first one done. Your second hinge is you're going to score at 1/2 and then cut at 1. Okay, and then I'll do the same with this one. Hopefully I've got 1/2 here. So score at 1/2 and cut at 1, like so, and then come down and cut at 4 3/4. Okay, and come and do this one, 4 3/4. So that's your hinges. Okay, next we need to cut out the booklet box that's going to sit at the back, and you need to cut this at 4 1/4 by just under 9. Now I say just under 9 because we need to have a 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch allowance for our box to fit onto the back of our book. So I'm going to just come down, and I'm actually going to cut it down to 8 7/8. Okay, that should give us a nice gap either side. So just take that down, and by 4 1/2, I'm just double checking, 4 1/4, like so. Then what we're going to do is we need to score it on 3 sides at 1/2 inch and then at 3/4 inch. You do that on 2 long sides and 1 short side, like so. And again like so. So now you've scored it and you've got those score lines here. So what we're going to do is we need to cut the first score line here. You can just see I'm going to cut that score line all the way to the second score line here. Okay, then we're going to come back to the first score line and we're going to just create a step. So we're going to go down, then across, and then down again. So you kind of create that. Now I am going to just mitre that corner there, and I'm also going to come along and mitre the top corner there. So fold over all your score lines like so. So it's going to look like this when we're finished. Okay. Okay, the next thing we have to cut out is the gatefolded belly band that is going to go over the front of our gatefold book to keep it closed. So you need to cut 2 of these, and you can just use 1 sheet and then cut them, but I would actually cut 2 sheets together. That way you get an accurate measurement. So you need to cut these the full length of your A4 to 2 3/4. And then what we'll do is when we come to assemble our album, we'll sort this out when we come to do that. So I'm just going to put on here belly band closure, and then I'll put that to one side. So that really is all we've got at the moment ready to cut out. We still have the flaps to do, but we'll cut them as we've put the book together. We'll sort of go page by page. So I'm going to have a little bit of a tidy up and then get myself set up ready to do my album. Now if you're making this along with me, then you will need your gap guides that you will need to space your spines with your covers, and you'll also need your foundation tape as well. And that's the way I put my books together. If you don't do it this way and you use the wraparound method, then fill your boots and you go ahead and do that now. Okay, let's start with putting our album together. Now I've got my back piece here, and these are my 2 front closures there, like so, and then I've got my 2 spines either side. So to put this together using the tape method, I'm just going to, how I do it is I unroll my tape and then I hang the roll off the end of my table. That way I kind of get the weight of the tape that kind of pulls my unreeled tape taut. So that just gives me a nice space, a nice sort of straight piece of tape to work to. So I kind of put it on, half off, and I leave a little bit at the top as well. So you put your gap guides in. Now these are invaluable to you for using when you're putting any book together. Using gap guides is really important, because you need that gap in between the cover and your spine to give your album movement. Because if you haven't got that gap, you then run the risk of things cracking and breaking and things like that. So we're just going to put this all on together. So I've put my back piece and a spine together. So to take them off, I just pull them off, pull that bottom one off. I'm going to just pull that over, so I'm covering this side of my spine. Grab my tapey scissors and I'm just going to cut that off. Now they are going to overlap a little bit, like so, and then push them down. Next we're going to do the same side, but this time we're going to put one of the front pieces on. So again, I've just unreeled, if that's a word, some of my tape, half on half off the grey board, put your gap guides on, and these are a 1/4 inch gap guides, and then just add your front piece, take this off, take this off, and push this down like so. Pull this up, and I'm going to just cut that bit there. So that is your first spine and the first part of your book done. Okay, like so. Now I'm just going to move this down a little bit more, just so that I am in shot a bit more. So next we do the left side or right side. Again, same principle. Half on, half off. And the more you do it this way, the quicker you will get. I've been making books this way for years, so I'm quite quick at doing it. And I've worked out a method that is best for me. Cut it off so that it doesn't reach the top here, but you've got enough of an overlap. Again, a little bit more, and then on, and on again, and then I'll just put this one in, and this is then your second closure for your gatefold. Bring that over, and as you can see, it doesn't matter how much you put along the top, just as long as you've got enough of a overhang so that they can overlap. This is going to be my inside piece, so, and you're not going to see this, so don't worry too much. Right, now have we done that, we now need to edge our edges, because we don't really want to see greyboard edge on our album. It won't look too good. So again, how I do this. Now I do this in one continuous long strip, and I do my 2 long sides first, and then I do the 2 short sides second. I always do it that way. So again, I'm just going to gauge my half on, half off of my book, like so. Now don't worry if you don't get it exactly half. It's not going to matter, because it is going to be covered, so you're only going to see the bare minimum of your tape. Now I've turned it over, so I've now got sticky side up. So I'm going to pull my book up, going to give it a little wiggle and a little jiggle, and I'm going to stick that tape to the very tippy toppy edge of your board. Okay, give it another wiggle jiggle, and then push over so you're pushing back on yourself. Okay, and then I'm just going to smooth that out. Smooth that out. Now if you get a little crease, just come along with your bone folder or Teflon tool. Be careful not to go in between here with the point, because you run the risk of cutting into it. But don't worry if you do, because it can be taken off and redone or patched over. So all I've done now is just cut off the ends here so that I've got nice straight edges. So I'm going to do the same with the top. So again, half on, half off. Okay, I'm going to just cut that off there. Bring that over. Give it a little wiggle and a jiggle, and then roll it back on itself. Now as you can see here, I've got hardly any. It is quite small, but it's not going to matter because it is going to be covered. If you are worried, you can always take it off and redo it, but I'm not that worried. So that's your 2 long sides. Now the short sides are a little different, because we don't actually put it on the side of our album. We actually put it on the edge here. So I'm going to start with putting this edge right up to that corner of your grey board, bringing it over, and then just smooth it down with your finger like so. Now of course I've got too much here, so I am going to mitre that corner. So I'm going to chop that bit off, put that on my finger, and do the same with this one, so you end up with a point, just like so. Okay, and do the same with this one. Now it will get stuck everywhere, this tape, so take that bit off and take that bit off, and then once you've at this point, you can then pinch and push down, pinch and push down all the way so that your tape adheres to your album like so. And as you can see here, I have got a few bubbles and creases, but with the magic of these tools you can iron them out like so. Okay, so again do the same with the other side, and then we will have nearly finished edging our album. So there we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. Push it down, and then make sure that it is really stuck down. So burnish really well. I just normally go along and just burnish it all down. Now do these joints, but with just my finger, just so that they stick to each other, and then I don't run the risk of accidentally slipping and ripping the joint. Okay, so we finish with our tape for just a moment, so we can put that to one side, and then you need to bring in your hinge mounts. Now one thing I did forget to do, which I don't always do, is just run your bone folder along the very edge, just to give a more round, a more square look. If you don't want to do this, you don't have to, but it does make a difference, because it really does adhere that tape to the very edge of your album. There we go, one last side, there we are, and then that's done. So work out which side you're going to use. Now I'm going to use this side, as I said, because with my joins. And you will need some double-sided tape for this, and your glue, because I use glue and double-sided tape to put my hinge mounts on. So the hinge mounts are 1/4 of an inch smaller either side of your book. Okay, like that. Now I just use my ruler and a pencil, and I did have a ruler here, and I'm just going to mark my 1/4 inch mark there, and again here 1/4 inch mark, and I'm going to use that as my guide of where I'm going to put my hinge mount, like so. Now your hinge mount is bigger this way, so your 5" needs to go a landscape, and then your 4 3/4 needs to go upward a ways. So that's your 4 3/4. Okay, like so. So how I put it on is like this. Now, get my tape, and I'm not going to go past that line there. So I'm going to put my tape as near to that join as you can. Okay, just take that. But I'm not going to go past where I think my 1/4 inch mark is. I'm going to come along and do a join, a line of tape on the opposite side of the join, and again on the other side, like so. And I will do the same to the other spine as well, like so. Okay, and then come along and do the same here. And one more, and then I'll also add my tape to my 2 hinge mounts, and this is going to go all around the edges. Okay, so, and you're going to do this on both of them. This is the one time that I use tape on my albums. I used to use tape all the time, and then I found out that glue seems to have got an awful lot better recently, and it simply grabs a lot quicker. So you can use glue and it be stuck down relatively quick. The only thing I find that doing that with your spines, it doesn't grab quick enough. So using a mixture of your double-sided tape and your glue gives you that working time. So I'm just going to burnish all of these down, and the importance, I can't stress it enough, it is so important to burnish your double-sided tape, because it heats up it heats up the adhesive underneath, and it does give you a better stick. Because you're taking out all those air bubbles in that tape, you're pushing out that air so that every single part of that tape is sticking to your surface. So once you've done that, I do need a pokey tool, which I haven't got, so I will use a pair of tweezers. She says I had loads of pokey tools, but they've all gone walkabout. There we go. I'll do one first and then come along and do the next one. So I've taken them off there, and then just take it off your hinge mount. Now I may need to might be quicker just to do it this way. Okay, so take that off. Then grab your glue. Now I have got a brand new tip on here, and I've filled up my glue bottle. So I'm going to put my glue along the edges, exactly where my glue is, my double-sided tape is, all the way along, and along there, and then up. Okay, and then once I'm happy, I'm going to just put this into place. Now, you don't need to worry about the distance either side of your joins. Just make sure that you haven't got it like that. Make it as even as you possibly can. And then just line it up with your measurement down here. And when you're happy, just burnish that in place. Like so. Okay. on to the next one. Push it down, then give it a good burnish. If you get a bit of glue seepage, that's good. So that means that you're spreading that glue all the way along. So you're spreading it to the edges as well, which is good. My glue is very good because it dries clear. There we are. So once you've got to this stage, it is quite rigid now. So grabbing your ruler, just place your ruler in between that join and just use it as a resist to bring it up and bring your front up and then your spine like so. So that's one side. Do the same with the other, like so and like so. And then this is then the start of your book. Okay, like that. So you've made a book. Now we need to think about what's going to go inside it. So we can start with our hinges. Okay, so our hinges. Now you've got two different sizes here. You've got the size that's got the 3/8 of an inch gap, and you've got the ones that have got the 1/2 inch gap. Now you need to have one of each on both of your spines. That creates then enough gap in between for our pages to interlock together. Now it's up to you which one you start with on either side. I'm going to start this side with my 1/2 inch, and then this side will have the 3/8 first. Now we're going to start on the join that is nearest to your front cover, because we want our pages to sit at the top and sit over our box that's going in the middle. So if you've got your glue, and then you're going to put your glue on that 3/8 of an inch glue tab once my glue decides to come out, like so. And sorry, that's the wrong one. The 1/2 inch we were going to do first, wasn't I? Get with the program, Tamara. Get with the program. Okay, so I'm going to put my 1/2 inch gap towards this side. I'm not going to face it in. I'm going to have it out like so. And then I'm going to place it as near to that join as I can possibly get it. Down here. And then push them out like so. Okay, just burnish that down. Make sure it's nice and level with the two top edges here. Well, the two edges, not two top edges. So now I've obviously put my glue on my 3/8, and that's going to go the same. I'm just going to turn this round because I find it easier to work on the left hand side. So that's going to go this side, but again as near to that edge as you can get it. Burnish that down. Then as I've got this one here, I'm going to add my other 1/2 inch one, and that's going to go with the 1/2 inch facing your first hinge. So I hope you can see that there. Okay. And we'll push that in. Oops, not too much. So then you grab your next one, which is the 3/8, and we're just going to add that in. And again, that's going in the same place, like so. And then again, just butt it up to this other hinge that you've got down. And that should leave about an inch, or I think it was 3/4. Yes, it should leave 3/4, which is ample space to add your box. So I'm just going to burnish those down. Just so that they are nice and creased, and that they are sticking to the the spine. So then that is your hinges on. How quick and easy was that? Okay, we've got to this stage now. So next we need to add our back box. So I'm going to add some double-sided tape to this, and again this is just going onto that outer glue tab. Okay, I'm going to just bring it down this way, and again on this side, and I will add a little bit of glue as well. So I'm going to take off my backing of the double-sided tape and just stick my little tabs down inside. I'm just adding a little bit of glue just so that they will stick, and then just stick the corners to that double-sided tape. Okay, like so. Okay, make sure that they are nice and straight, and then we can add the glue. Now I'm just going to add the glue all the way over that double-sided tape because I want a bit of wiggle room. And then I'm going to put one side of my book up so that I can just use that as a guide of where I need to put my pocket. And then once I'm in the correct space, I can just pull that one up as well, just to make sure that they are sitting nice and flush. Now I've put them so that they run the same parallel line as the hinge mount as well. I'm just going to use my ruler just to burnish that down, and again on this side and that side, and then when we pull that up, that then sits nice and flat in our book like so. So if I bring that up, you can see there's a slight bow, but once you get your pages in, that will sort thatself out. Now let's put the booklet together, and we can then get that put into our book and then out of the way. So you've got your 4 pages, the smaller ones which are for our booklet, and you've got 3 hinges as well. Now I do apologise if you can hear a little bit of a whir in the background. I have a little desk fan, and because we've got summer here now. It's now officially arrived in the UK, and it is rather hot. So okay, now you can round the corners of these if you want to. I didn't on my previous book, but it's up to you. So I'm going to start, I don't know why I turned that round because it doesn't matter. I'm just going to start with putting the glue on the mountain side fold of your first glue tab, and that's going to go right smack bang level with the page that you've got down. Once you're happy, just burnish that in place like so. Now the next one is going to go, we're going to go this way, so it is going to go, I'm just trying to work out now, yeah, it is going to go underneath this flap. So glue on the valley fold side, and then I'm going to push that right up into that crease. Make sure that everything is level. If it's not and it's kicking it out a little bit, just trim off a smidge off one end like so, and then put your book so that it's flat on the table, side up, tap tap tap, and once you're happy, then just burnish that down, and then you'll end up with a nice straight edge on this side. So that's 2. So the next one, we need to put our hinge on the opposite side. Okay, now you can put it inside. I might put it inside on this one, and then we can work sort of backwards. So glue and push that right in as far as it will go, and then burnish down when you're happy. Okay, that's your second one. And then you've got it, we're going to put the next sheet either on the top or underneath. So on the top or underneath, whichever you prefer. I'm going to go with underneath because I want to make sure that I am level on this side, and I can just see I may be just a little bit, no, actually I'm not too bad, that's fine. So glue again on the valley fold side like so, tap tap tap, make sure that it's all level, and then burnish down. Okay, then you've got your last one, and you've guessed it, it goes this side. So glue underneath on the valley fold, push it into, so push the edge of your page into that crease, and then burnish down when you're happy. And then this is going to go either, I'm going to put it underneath on this one as well, like so, and then glue on the underside, push it on into that crease. Again, if you're out a little bit, just cut a little bit off. I seem to be just fine, I think. There we go, push that down. So then that's your concertina booklet. Okay, so you can either go from this side, I'm going to go from this side, so you go that way, open out, and then this way, open out. So it's just like a continual book. So that then can fit into our little pocket there, like so, and that will fill out the more you put your pattern paper and photo mats on, so don't worry about that. So the next thing is our pages. Now this is going to be just a little bit, it's not difficult, it's just there's a lot of scoring in it, so I'm just going to re-get my notes just so that I can remember how to do it. So you're going to have your page, and you're going to have the longest measurement down the side of your trimmer, okay, with the shortest measurement at the top. Now we are going to score on the longest measurement, and we're going to score this at 4 3/4. So we're going to score it in half, okay, like so. And then we're going to score on the shortest measurement, so you need to turn it round. So we're scoring along on the shortish measurement. We're going to score at 1/2 inch, and that's on both sides. Okay. Like so. So you've actually cut your page in half, because what we want to happen is we want this top opening to be at the top, but we also want to create a hinge on our paper, on our page. So I'm just going to cut down the center score line just to that 1/2 inch mark, and we're going to fold part of this over, and then this is going to create our first page side. Okay, now because I've done it this way, I'm actually going to use this one as my right hand page, because we need to do it differently if whichever pages we do. So this here is going to be my hinge. Okay, it's going to fit on our book like so. Then this side we can cut off again just to that 1/2 inch mark, just snip down. Now this is where I just need my, yes. So when we do the right hand side page, you need to fold over the 2 at the top. So 2 ones that are at the top facing you, and then keep the two score lines at the bottom, like 2 wings. But we're actually going to cut this wing off, and just cut it just shy of that scored line, like so, just so that when we fold it up, it's going to fit in that glue tab. Okay, like so. Now you will need to just have a play around with it. Like this one here is just a little bit pushing it out, so I will just take off another little smidge, like so, and push that up, and then that can fit nicely over the top. Now I'm not going to miter any of these corners because they're going to be hidden. Okay, so that is one side, and then this side I'm just going to double check what no, I've actually, yeah, it goes this way, doesn't it? There we go. So this side here, you're going to push in this one as well. So you've got it like this. Now you're going to put your glue on the mountainside fold of the one on your right, and on the valley fold side on the one of the left. Okay, like so. So we're going to fit that down. Now I'm going to make sure that's nice and stuck. Just give it a burnish, push all the air out, and then come along and stick the other side down like so. So you've actually created a page with a hinge on it. I'm just going to push that in. Just give that a burnish so that this is moving a bit more freer. So that is your right hand page. So I'm going to put here right hand page, so RHP. So to do the left hand one, you do it in reverse. So I'm going to get my left hand, I'm going to get one of my pages, come down and score at 4 3/4 and then score at 1/2 inch on the on the two long measurement sides, like so. So I'm scoring along that longest measurement. Okay, then just fold your score lines over. Okay, and I'm going to do the one in the middle as well. So the one on the left, you've got it. You need to keep this one at the back. I think it's at the back, or is that the front? It's going to go over just like so, and then that's going to go round. So the one on the back, you're going to just cut down that center line to the 1/2 inch mark on both sides. This is going to be your hinge, so I'm just going to write on there H for hinge so I don't forget. Then this is going to be folded inside and then stuck, but I'm going to just quickly mitre that one corner there so that when we fold that in, it's not going to get stuck on the fold line. So that goes over like so. And then this side here, so the one on the table is the one that's going to be cut off. So I'm going to cut it just shy of that scored edge, and then this can fit around the top, the side, and then fit nicely on there like that. Now I've just noticed that this is not very level, so I'm just going to give this a bit more of a score line, just to bring it a bit level at the top. There we go, that's better. It's brought it a bit flusher. So I'm going to push that round. Now I have noticed here that it's getting a little caught. No, that's fine. And that's fine that side. So glue on the right hand tab on the valley fold like so. Fold that over and then just burnish that down with your fingers. Okay, once you've got it in place, just bring in your Teflon tool just to get that stuck down a bit more. And then what I should have done is actually done this side first, but I'm just going to add the glue now and just push out the air and bring that down like so. And that's the second page. You need now to go ahead and do that 2 more times so that you have a total of 4 pages that are ready then to attach to our hinges. Okay, moving on now. So we're going to be working on our pages now. So we're going to be cutting out the elements as we go through. So we've got page 1, which is on the left, and page 2, which is on the right. I'm going to call them page 1 A and B and page 2 A and B. That way it's not going to get too confusing. Now in my original book I had the shaker page on page 1 and my photo frame on my left on page 2. I'm actually going to swap them over for this video, or this book should I say. So for these, the measurements are going to be, we need to cut out 2 of these. So for our shaker flap and the photo frame flap, you'll need to cut these measurements. So I'm just going to get everything ready. And I'm going to cut 2 pieces of card together again. That way we're going to end up with nice even edges. We need to cut this at 10 inches by 6 3/4. Okay, like so. First of all, score along what I call the shortest measurement, so the shortest edge. Okay, so that means you've got the longest measurement down the side of your trimmer, but you're going to score along this short edge. We're going to score this at 1/2 inch, like so, and then we're going to fold it over, and then we're going to come down and we're going to score at 4 3/4. Okay, so you've got this folded over, and you're actually measuring from the fold. Okay, score that over and fold that down. So you will end up with a type of flap like that. So that's going to then be our first flap mechanism for our page 1. So you need to do that another time. So we're going to score at 1/2, fold it over, and then come down and score with you're measuring from your scored line at 4 3/4. Okay, and then that is your second one. The next thing you need is some acetate, and that you need to cut at 4 5/8 by 6 5/8. Okay, I've gone ahead and cut my 2 acetate sheets now, so I'm just going to pop them over there out of the way for the moment. So we're going to work on the frame. You're going to cut a 3/4 inch frame all the way around your page. Now we are actually going to be working on the front part. So if you have your flap, you've got your glue tab at the top, then you've got a big expanse, and then you've got a big expanse down here. So that's going to fold up and under your flap. So it's this part here, this top part, that we want to cut our frame into. So you'll need yourself a pencil, and I use my trimmer, but you could use a ruler if you want to. So I'm going to go, so you're going to need to fold that glue tab over so that you are measuring from the folded edge. So we're going to measure up to 3/4. Okay, like so. Once you're ready, just push that down. Now I am just going to do 2 lines like that. So I've just drawn 2 lines. You can see that other line just there. So I'm going to come along. I'm just going to fold this over because we're not cutting yet, and again measure from that up to the 3/4 mark. Draw a tiny little line and another line. All we want is for this here, so we need this intersection more than anything else, so that's what I'm sort of looking for. So again, go across, so you've made yourself your cross there. I'm going to move around and do this side. I just saw that I only did one side there. Should have done 2. Okay, come along, draw that, and I'm going to open that out, and again across there, so that you've created a sort of frame already. So now what we're going to do is we need to just line them lines up with the center line of your trimmer, and we're going to trim in between those crosses all the way across. Stop when you think you've hit the mark. come along and do the same here and then cut. It just that the lines there are just a guide so that you know not to go further than you should with your blade. So once you've got that, we need to just find yourself a rubber and just rub out those excess pencil lines like so. Okay, once you've put your acetate in, we're going to cut the pattern paper for the frame. So you need to cut this at 6 5/8 by 4 5/8. And then we're going to cut a 5/8 of an inch frame out of this piece. We're going to go with our 5/8 of an inch border. So I'm just putting my pencil mark all the way around like so, and then I'll cut my border out, just going up to the crosses like so. And done that side, do this side. And one more. Like so. So then you've got your frame. Now I'm going to ink around the edges of this and just rub out those pencil lines. And you've got a nice frame around. I'm going to put that to the side for just a moment. Grab my rubber, which I know is here. Just very carefully rub out any pencil lines that you can see. Like so. Like so. So grab your ink. Now I'm going to go with black today and just ink those edges. Like so. There we go. And then this is going to fit on your frame. So let's add our glue. I think because it's so warm, my glue is clogging up quicker. There we go. There we are. So just add our glue. And make sure it's the right way up. And then just add it on like so. Make sure you've got the same distance all the way around like that. So that is your frame done. And then if you wanted to, you could put this in. So we could just eye it like so. I bring it down. I think I might just put that in. But you of course could cut another one out or put it in before you've added the acetate. So I'm just going to get that in the right place. Hopefully I don't move it. Oh, I didn't do a bad job there. So push that down, and then that is in there. Now you're not going to see that because this is going to be closed over, and you'll then put your photo mat in there. But what I am going to do is just cut off a smidge off the top, and I mean a little smidge, not even an 1/8 of an inch, like so, maybe just like a 1/16, just so that that can close nicely over there. So I will add some double-sided tape just along the top here, right up to that tippy toppy edge. I will add some glue on that as well, just along that bit there. And we can push it over. Make sure you push all of the air out so that it becomes quite flat. Now I've got a little bit showing here, but if you wanted to just use some of your foundation tape just to cover that area, you can. It's not necessary, but it depends on how you feel about it. It's only going to be for decorative features, really. So we'll just take that off like so, and then that is the first sheet. Now we have to obviously add our photo mat that goes inside, but we will do that in just a moment. So I'm going to grab my page that is the left hand side. I've wrote on there L so that I know that it's that side. Also, I've made sure that all my glue tabs that are showing on the outside are on what I would call side B. So I'm just going to add that because that's not shut. Didn't obviously catch the glue. Now it has. So this is now going to fit over your page, and it's going to go into, and that's the wrong page, and I was going to have a bit of a wobble then. So this is my L, R, L. So get page L, so this is page 1, and that's better, it fits. So you might notice that because it's exactly the same size, you will need to just miter the corners just slightly, just so that it's got a slope to slope down into, and then you'll find that it will fit in there nicely like so. So we can go ahead and stick that in. So I'm going to go with my glue, and we can push that in like so. Push that down and make sure it sticks. There we are. Like so. Now, before we decorate this part and this part, we need to add our magnets. I've got 2 magnets here. So I'm going to start with the one at the top here. So I just use my foundation tape just to stick that over, and get my foundation tape again, and we're going to stick it on like so, and then just bend it over, and then you'll find that it will transfer and be in the right place. There we go. Now I'm just going to give this a burnish down here just to make that better, like that. Now push that over, because that is your extra tag. Sorry, this is going to be your an extra hinge. I'm just bending that over, and again bending that over, just so that it's got that memory. Okay, and then this is going to fit onto your page, your hinge 1. Okay, like so. So next we need to think about what we're going to do here. I'm going to leave them both plain, because that way you can just lift it up and you've got a nice 6x4 photo that you can put on there. So I will cut the pattern paper. Cut 3 pieces of your pattern paper at 6 5/8 by 4 5/8. And don't forget to ink those edges. I've cut my 3 pieces out now, and these are the ones I've cut out here. So I'm going to use my pocket slot wavy dies in the one on the back, but I obviously need to cut that out now, and we can just cut that one out. Now I saved the little bit that comes out, so don't throw that away. That's there, and that's there. Move this over here, and my slot. So bring these back, and I'm going to shut that up, and now we're doing page 1 but side B. Okay, and this is going to go on like so. Now I have inked all my edges as well. Just remember to not ink at the bottom here, only ink around the edges, and then when you get to the top you can then ink all the way around that little bit there to keep that closed. Then stick it on, and that's then your die. Now we've got this little bit here, because as you can see the die where the pocket is, but if you want a hidden pocket, then just add the little offcut back in like so, and then it hides that pocket. So go around. I'm just going to take some of that off so I don't get any overspill, and then just place it back in that little hole. Remember to line it up. There, I'm going to just run my finger along that line just so that I get that extra bit there. I'm just going to place this card in there just like so, so that I know that that is there. And I love the way this die curves like so. It's just so it's just such a lovely movement that you get with that, especially when you've then got your photo mat inside. It does look rather nice, I have to say. So that's page 2. So then coming on to these, now I am just going to add these as just decorative pages. Now we have got that photo mat to put in there. So cut the photo mat at 4 inches by 6 5/8. There we go, it does. So that is our page 2, sorry, page 1. So that's the whole of page 1 done. I'm going to leave that here for this video and come back with part 2, and part 2 will have the shaker card, which will be page 2. Please don't forget to comment, like and subscribe. It really does help my channel grow and I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the notification bell as well. All that means is every time I upload new content to my channel, you will be one of the first to know about it. Don't forget to come and follow me on all the socials. All the links, as always, will be in the description box down below, as well as a link to my Facebook group, Memories Paper Art, where you will be able to download and use the free PDF cutting guide that is available with this tutorial, as well as any of the other tutorials that I have on my channel. So, all of that said, please have the most amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you again in part 2. Bye!